And if you're going to say that it's not God's fault a sinful person goes to hell, yes, it is, because God created the system to be that way. He created hell and the rules and the process by which humans go there. These types of arguments have been presented to me by other Christians. I know not all of them are the same, not all Christians are the same or believe in the same things. You might not even believe in a hell or a vengeful God. Again, it all comes down to preference. But when the tenets of a religion become subject to human preference, then it really has no credibility as being anything divine or unchanging or infallible. A true loving God, with all the power in the universe, would realize He made the mistake and fix the problem and end all unnecessary suffering, and would never think of punishing a finite being with infinite torture, even for rape, which, in my opinion, is a worse crime than murder. Though your God seems to be perfectly fine with rape and has ordered his followers to do so several times. And murder? Well, Yahweh, if the words can be believed, is the leading cause of death all throughout history. Like George Carlin said, you've got Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Hindus all killing each other because God told them it would be a good idea. Infinite torture does not equal love in any shape or form. It's the exact opposite, unless your standard of love resembles that of a deranged serial killer. Again, not saying you personally, but the intended comparison stands. And again, I am morally superior to this God because I would never lock my own child, don't have any yet, in a dungeon for the rest of his life if he called my name wrong, or if he worked on a day I told him not to work, or if she got raped and didn't marry the rapist, or she decided to just be a good person without following my path. Nor would I favor one child over the other for following in my exact footsteps. Giving one kid ice cream and video games while the other is tied to a chair in the basement and flogged constantly. Some father I'd be if I did that. Would I be worthy of praise because I treat the one kid so nicely? This argument, I do have to say, I got from, it was either 43 Alley or Non-Stamp Collector, one of those cartoonists, atheist cartoonists. Brilliant stuff. Check both of those guys out too. So yeah, would I be worthy of praise because I treat one kid so nicely? So why do Christians praise a father who does apparently act this way? Just because they're humans and they're scared because he's a god and can do whatever he wants? What kind of solid morality is that? Who seriously wants to give praise to a being comparable to Hitler, who was Catholic, by the way? Yahweh is an abusive, rapist father. Love me because I say so, or I will have you tortured forever. What part of that is loving or caring, or even worthy of worship? Sure, he offers paradise for those who do stone rape victims and dash babies' skulls against rocks, or put homosexuals to death, or praise his name using all the correct words, but it all sounds more like a lot of fantasies created by a bigoted group of sheep herders in the Bronze Age, trying to think of anything better than living in a desert, stumbling over some peyote, and writing their own hallucinations, which is also a theory that hypothesis, which is pretty much well documented, actually. A lot of religious texts were written based on drug hallucinations. So until Jesus apologizes for his father, or himself, depending on who you ask, for rewarding a man who threw his two daughters out to a crowd of rapists just to protect two strangers he just met hours earlier, even if they were angels, until Jesus apologizes for that, and renounces his father or himself for that, I cannot respect the God of the ancient Hebrew Christian myths. Rewarding an act as hideous as that is the line I draw when it comes to respecting this God. There are many other lines, of course, like ordering people to pull people's babies out of their pregnant women of the cities that they're conquering. But yeah, but this is basically one of the main stories, more popular stories, I guess. Rewarding, is the line I draw when it comes to respecting this God, as it again shows how I, a mere human, am morally superior to such a being, because I would never throw my own possible future daughters out to a crowd of rapists, ever, and if I did, I'd expect to be punished by an all-loving God for even thinking of doing something similar, not rewarded for it. I wouldn't reward my own children for doing that. Excuse me. The character of Yahweh is the very embodiment of a devil masquerading as a good God. How Christians can ignore all these signs and not feel like horrible people for wanting to worship this extremely horrible being is completely beyond my comprehension. Well, beyond my comprehension of human beings being social creatures who are willing to fib a little to fit in, another survival instinct that, if left unchecked, can lead to many of humanity's worst problems: bigotry, hatred, exclusionism, war. Sure, it provides comfort for one group of people, but at the expense of demonizing all who are not part of that group. And what's the morality behind demonizing people you've never met or have met and know some really nice people who aren't part of the club, but you're still happy to know that they're going to be burning in torture forever? It's Christian morality for you. Sorry, I know this is long, but I have one more point to make. Human words are not good enough anymore. Human words in ancient books written by humans cannot prove gods. Only the gods themselves can do that now. By doing something that no human can duplicate and showing it to everyone in the world at the same time, so there can be no arguments against it being just some sort of mental episode by some crazy theist, that is the only way I can possibly believe in any of the gods man has created, including Yahweh and Allah. No amount of saying they're real and true and the only one can possibly sway anybody who understands the nature of religions. Anyone who understands the naturally evolved human weakness towards submitting to a group mentality for survival purposes. To anyone who understands that those with mental issues tend to be taken seriously when speaking of God experiences to those who already believe. And finally, to those who understand the fact that there are humans who know how to take advantage of that social human weakness and those with the mental issues for their own personal gain.